I forgot to add us. Whoops. Alright, it's Tuesday night. Hail the Iron Seas.
Buddy.
Kahuna's running on super Hawaiian time today.
Per usual.
Yeah, so I guess I'll intro. Today, we have a special guest, RJ William. Thank you for joining us. Author
Boy, thanks for being on.
Yeah. Call sign Orion.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, so this week we watched Kung Pao, which was the winner of this week's poll. We have, as usual, a few writing topics, and then we're going to do a little something unusual. I mean, we did it one week, but we're going to we picked a project off of John A. Douglas's Monday post with, whatever project, and we're picking a winner. We're going to be the arbiters of truth of what is the best in John A. Douglas's post, and we're choosing one. So that probably is going to be a new weekly thing. So if you want to get in, post on John's thing, and we'll judge, and maybe you might win. And we'll give you a little free promo here. But besides that, RJ, how you doing?
I'm great. Just having a beer. Got some comic stuff out. I've been reading Michael Bancroft's Lucent. Second book. It's an awesome one. I'm kind of mad at how much more talented than me he is.
Howdy. Speaking of, I love The Lucent by Michael Bancroft. I haven't read the second volume yet, which I do have, but my favorite indie comic from last year. Hey, RJ, how's it going, man?
Great. How you doing? Yeah, I was just showing it to a friend, and she was like, "Yeah, it's kind of upsetting that someone quotes Milton and Shakespeare, and then incorporates all this ancient mythology with Doctor Strange and Inception, sort of." And
then it also references the Bible, and he's also a drunk Australian, so it just doesn't seem.
Yeah, and he draws and he writes, and screw him, right?
It's like when I first hooked up with all these guys. It's like, oh yeah, I can do this, and this. I also do music. I'm like, what am I doing here, dude? This isn't right.
I'm just gonna have to start a mean internet rumor about him now.
Well, I don't have to start a rumor. We know Battsauce is flagrantly homosexual, so we have a lot to work with. He's like, hey, stop it! You can't do that on our stream.
Besides that, Emily, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I still have a bunch of projects looming overhead, but I think I'm going to get some time to sit down with them over the weekend. So it'll be good to get back on the old six string and chip away at some of those things and get a little bit closer to getting back into working on my own stuff, which I did just release that other record recently, it's good to have another release out, but I have other plans. I got other things I had to get to.
What's it called? Antihero, right? Antihero.
That was the one that I did with Chill Kid. Yeah, that was the dual single, and then the recent one is Flight with all the tracks I did for the Iron Seas guys. And a gaming podcast a decade ago, and
you got
odds and ends. Finally have a home now.
You got a link we can toss in the chat, quick?
Yeah, give me a second. I can get that.
You want to drop a link for those dirty little chatters?
It's not everywhere yet. It's just on Bandcamp to start because I had to make sure everything was good before I sent it out to all the. Changing things on Bandcamp is easy, but once it's out on Spotify and iTunes and all that junk, changing anything is kind of a hassle.
And I'm an idiot, so I just buy things on iTunes because I'm a fucking moron. But I'm very excited to buy that album.
No.
I'll be sharing that link around as well because I've had a lot of people ask if my song is available to buy anywhere. I'm like, no,
it is on there now. We got the Ultimate Kahuna songs on there. We got Kikoman on there. And
I love the Kikoman song.
Iron Age Media, the Chill Stream intro, outro, the what else is on there? There's all kinds of stuff. There's 22 tracks. So even some lo-fi. Did a little lo-fi too. So a little
I don't know what you mean with lo-fi. I feel like you're again making up words and trying to make it stick. It's just no.
You don't know lo-fi?
You've heard lo-fi. What are you smoking, Joe?
Yeah. Sounding very low-tistic right now, Bat.
I just probably pronounced it weird. I play that in the background when I'm writing, and I'm like lofi music. I don't know, whatever lofi music is.
That's a very low-T opinion. Just saying.
All right, AC, he's coming.
Oh,
how you doing this week?
I'm doing good. Been busy getting over 75. Yep, 75 tracks together for Empty My
It's
Lungs.
75. What?
Yep,
He's got the next 20 years of
Virgins?
music laid out.
I was just today. I guess my main project today was listening to those tracks, talking to you, and I think what I was just doing before the stream, right? Did we talk? Are we?
Well, we'll keep it on the DL for now. You know.
Okay.
Just like everything else he does.
Then, other than that, tomorrow morning, Empty My Lungs' full album stream goes live on the YouTube, and shortly after, I will be releasing From Ashes featuring Jared Chrisman.
Oh yeah.
I'm so excited for that. By the way.
I haven't picked a day yet. I'm thinking like no later than Thanksgiving. Might just have it be a Thanksgiving release, to be honest. So yeah, look forward to that.
All right. Good deal.
RJ, is that a new office, my man?
No, just not fully finished.
Okay, I'm like, where's all the stuff, man? Maybe I mean, it doesn't have to be cluttered like my BS I have going on back here, but
No, this is just my basement, Wayne's World style.
all of you
Wayne's World.
dirty
Hey,
basement
we are
streamers.
fans of Wayne's World here. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Wait, I don't have my clips ready.
This is my
Damn it.
cat Gandalf. He's not paying attention to you guys. Gandalf,
yeah.
say hi. All right, whatever.
Oh, looks like my old cat. It looks like the cat I stole from the
Gandalf,
Native
that's
Americans. Anyway,
The cat made the
Kahuna, how you
thumbnail.
doing this week, eh?
The cat made the thumbnail, by the way.
busy, man, busy with lots of stuff that I legally can't talk about, but creatively been okay. I did a couple of shorts. I have a lot of. I keep on buying more manga volume 1s. This is going to be turned into like a 50 volume kind of experience that I'm going for here, but. Yeah, man, just plugging away. And I got that thing that I showed you earlier, Bats. I got that printed on aluminum, and an art piece that I had done for a story of mine, and it looks so good, dude.
Dude, getting personal art, like I know what you mean. Now it's like addicting.
Oh,
like I ended up like just getting one commissioned, and then I'm like, I could do 5. Let me get to different artists and everything.
And then your wallet's like, leave me alone.
Yeah, maybe not a great idea.
Mortgage this month.
Yeah. But before I'll mention what I'm doing this week, I'll say hi to the chat real quick.
Yes.
McCoppin, probably heading to the shower. What's up?
McCoppin.
Bill Armstrong, let's go. Who's this?
Armstrong.
No idea.
Some lady, I don't know.
Animation Overload. What's up?
Animation Overload.
Anthony Rondell.
Rodinelli, you have to say it. Wait, you're Italian. Why am I
Hey.
correcting you?
What?
Anthony Rodinelli.
And we have Daniel P. Riley.
Seaman.
All right.
What are we talking about?
And you know what? Since it's my show, our show, I have control. Beauty. What is that? And how do we determine if something is such? Some people
Why is
are
there a gay
perplexed
French
by
guy
a
on the
question
screen?
like that. But those people are not me. With great power comes great responsibility. And I'm here to give the world beauty. There's a lot of ugly in this world, and we should call it what it is. Brandon Sanderson. Generic. Patrick Rothus. All fluff and no substance. Joe Abercrombie. Meh. Robert Jordan. More like Wheel of Lame. Frank Herbert. Boring. J.R.R. Tolkien. Yeah, he's okay, I guess. George R. Martin. I don't even need to say anything about that guy. I'm releasing a new masterpiece. Engracing the world with beauty. Illumination Toolsmith. The Tale of the Dunce Whisperer. You're welcome.
In a kingdom where the troubles grow, a man on a mission got a heart of gold. With a hammer and a smile, he's ready to roll. Fixing broken dreams, making stories unfold. Hey, hey, he's the problem solver.
That's all I got going on. Buy my book and better your life today. All right. So today, or this week, as we mentioned, as the thumbnail says, Kung Pao won this week's poll.
Kung Pao, enter the feast.
I'm still a little bit baffled by this one winning. You guys are gonna have to explain to me what I missed here because it just.
The right
We'll get
movie
into
lost, but I did anticipate this one winning.
I did not. I We'll get into it. I'm sure.
I did, and I'm still a little bit like, is it parody? I
Yes,
know
it is
Google and
parody,
everything says
Bats.
parody. Yeah, but like, it's parodying the whole.
Get the nunchucks out of your ass. It is parody.
No, I mean it's parodying. Like, I guess what I meant is like specifically like parodying, like more specific stuff, right? Like if you go to Scary Movie, there's very specific stuff that they're
But
parodying.
the scary movies are bad.
Oh, how dare no!
They're not very good.
What are you talking about?
Like Meet the
like
Spartans,
one
also
now.
not very funny. Vampires suck. It's like the 2004 to 2010 style of kind of parody that was coming out. And
I
they were
reject
almost
that. Scary
all
Movie
bad.
1 through 4 were hilarious.
They made me chuckle a little bit.
Yeah, 1
Well,
and 2.
Weak sauce.
Anyway,
RJ, have you seen Kung Pao, my friend?
Oh yes, I even refreshed myself, so I came prepared.
I gave him the
Nice.
talk, boys. I
Okay.
gave him the birds and the bees,
I just-
birds and the bees of the Iron Seas.
I just have one question. Does it hurt?
Yeah,
So-
the wheel.
We'll get into the satire versus parody thing in a
Later.
bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
I do.
fair.
Excited.
Look, I'll say like every week we watch a new movie, and Justin, we just cannot predict his reaction because we're like, oh,
This is
not
right
good-
up
this
your
is-
alley.
This is not. He's not gonna like this.
This
or
is
this
everything you
This is a
wanted.
fun movie. He's gonna like it, and like like this week he's like, I'm hating this movie. And
I can't.
I can't
I wish
agree
I could
more,
die.
Justin. I did not like this.
Wait,
On
Joe, did you see this
rewatch.
when you were younger?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I did, and I think I didn't like it back then, but like everybody said it was good, and that's kind of just what carried on. And I'm just like not digging it. There was like
dumb,
a few
but
chuckles.
it's dumb, but it's at least performative humor. I don't know. It is really juvenile, but that's kind of the point. Am I wrong?
Yeah. And,
Here-
and it's probably because your nipples don't resemble milk duds.
You've seen me shirtless, you lying son. Of
Well, this is a lot of comedy does this where it's like if you're talking with your friends about this and have an idea for something, it's hilarious. And then you put it on paper or like film, and it does not translate the same. And I
There's
think
a
that's what this is.
cow scene mimicking the Matrix. What do
That
you
was
mean?
like one
This
of the times I chuckled. Like, and then it went to like it could have done better. I don't know. There's just way better ways to do that. Kung Fu Hustle was this movie just actually
This movie
really fucking
spanks
good.
Kung Fu Hustle.
It's
Yeah,
just
this
no
movie
way,
destroys
shape, or
Kung Fu.
form. Dude.
I did appreciate this more in Kung Fu Hustle.
Yes.
I think it's probably
Well,
not
what?
for our age group.
Turning them over.
So like, do you guys remember Spike TV?
Yeah, I do a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like during the day, they would play, Hong Kong movies like young Jackie Chan stuff. Yeah. And like, if you've seen those movies, this is gold. But if
Well,
you haven't,
that's
like
what
I
I'm
said,
thinking.
really
It's like
funny.
Takashi Castle. Like, do you know what I'm talking about? I forgot what the Americanized one is. It's like where they're it was a Japanese game show, and then they have the one on
MXC?
Spike where MXC.
Yeah.
That's what this was doing, but just
Yep.
really funny. And I think like if they just took a movie and then just parodied it with like their own dialogue, I'm like that would have been funny. I don't know. To me, the comedy didn't translate. But Justin, yeah, you're right. You should do the rundown.
All right. So before we get too deep into it here, boys, because there's plenty to talk about.
I was gonna say, does it matter with this film?
Wait, that's.
I mean,
did you
that's our
upload the new
thing.
clip?
It's what
You
we
did
do.
it. I want to hear it.
That's what we
Go.
do. That's what we
Did
do.
you upload the new clip? Hold on. There might be something that I need to play.
Yeah, I just don't know if it's.
Go get some snacks. Perhaps a carbonated soda.
Soda.
I don't want to get copyright, but so the quality's not good on that.
All right, so this is Kung Pao from the year 2002. And I think the age you were in 2002, if you happened to see it when it came out, likely colors your enjoyment of this film, even
2002.
in the year of our Lord 2024. So the story here, possessing the speed and strength of a hero since birth, the chosen one, an orphan or should I do it? A martial arts phenomenon swears to avenge his parents' death. I can't even keep it going. As the unstoppable expert embarks on a challenging quest to take his sweet revenge on a ruthless Master Pain, Betty. Loyal supporters of the noble cause join in, but formidable adversaries roam the unforgiving wilderness, itching to put an end to their heroic mission. Now, the ultimate showdown with the arch-villain is at hand. Can the Chosen One's fiery fists of fury stop the evil kung fu legend who robbed him of his happiness? Starring Steve Odekirk. He directed it as well. It's got Fei Lung.
That's the main
Fei
guy,
Lung.
isn't it?
Everyone knows. I didn't look at a picture. Fei Lung. Everyone knows and loves him or her, depending who this person is, as well as Lia Lee. Budget $10 million, and it made $16 million. So
I see this as an absolute win.
Look, it's just like it's one of those things where I'm like, if this was
Wait, cost $10 million to make?
I
Yeah,
know
they had
that's
like
like
3
wild.
actors.
Yeah,
So it was
wild.
all done in
Yeah.
post. That's
there's a lot of
Green
CGI.
Yeah.
It was real expensive back then. Well, is it true that this movie they took actual like a movie that was already done and then just recut it and slapped him in there?
That's
Is
what
that
I've
how they did it?
heard.
It says in the beginning, at least the version I saw, that it was like they named the film. It was from 1976. It was a Hong Kong movie.
Okay.
And,
Yeah,
and
that-
Oh, I
That's
missed
that
that.
cool.
they show
That's
you what they did
funny.
in the credits,
That's a cool
just in
idea.
case you didn't think it was funny. They show you what they did. They literally like put little CGI tabs on these people and like superimpose them in like the backgrounds of old movies, and then like
That's why it looks so funny in
It's all
certain
Forrest
scenes.
Gump
That makes
style.
a lot of sense.
yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah,
totally
it's a cool-
missed that.
And I
I
hope
they have ices.
I will add that I did come up with a conspiracy this week for this one, as I try to do every week. But continue, Jess. Continue.
I was just gonna say, I was trying to figure out if Bob was it Bob Odekirk? Steve, I want to call him Bob. Steve Odekirk. Is he like is he one of the Fonz's children? Because he looks like the old Winkler, just like
He
a
does,
Jack
doesn't he?
version of the fella.
Yeah, yeah, they have some blood
I kept
relation.
doing I kept doing double takes there. But yeah, the fact that they took old footage and did that, I do think that is one
It's
of
a
the.
really
I
creative
have a very
idea.
short list of pros. That was one of them. I think that's a cool idea.
Yeah. Well, it's like trying to capture that unintentional.
valley.
Well, the unintentional funny, but like since it's intentional, that's where I'm like it's not really funny. Because like I've watched some old kung fu movies and it's way funnier than this because it's all just them trying to be serious and
It's just like
what's
the
going
worst
on?
dub on the planet. It's like,
What,
you have dishonored my family.
bro?
Now you
There's a
must pay.
Filipino Dragon Ball Z movie.
Go on.
Way better than this, dude.
The only thing we
I'm
had that was Dragon Ball Evolution, so this is the closest thing we had growing up. So you got
no. This is before Dragon Ball Evolution. I'm telling you, dude.
exactly.
Dragon Ball Evolution. Like I'm not a fan of Dragon Ball. Never watched it. Never read the manga. But I saw Dragon Ball Evolution on an airplane as a younger man. I said, I feel so bad for fans of Dragon Ball. This can't possibly be what the show is like. Oh.
Whenever you guys were kids, like me and my buddies used to do this sometimes. It'd be the wee hours of the morning, like 3 or 4, and we're trying to stay up till the sun was coming up. We're starting to get a little losing our minds because
A little
wee
wee.
Oh, a smidge.
That was the other funny part when that first started happening.
We would find stuff like this on whatever channel. There was a couple international channels, or we turn on Sci-Fi, just something weird we didn't know what it was. We'd hit mute, and then each one of us would take a character and talk almost exactly like this. And to me, it transported me back to those moments where we're just doing improv to these.
Oh, that's why you hate it.
This is a hilarious idea that should. It's funny because it's us live in the basement. I
Yeah.
never thought this would be great on the big screen.
Right,
Anyway,
right.
I just
yeah.
don't know that
Justin, the fact that you
translates, man.
dislike this movie, it proves how unpredictable your movie takes.
No,
are.
okay, let's go through like legitimate like funny moments here. Like for the first one to me where I thought was pretty funny was not with the baby rolling down the hill. I was kind of like, okay, whatever. But then when she picked the baby up, it was
I
like
have children.
That second
she was
part.
like, okay, bye, and then she threw it again. That was funny. But then I
guarantee
didn't
you-
chuckle for like ever until we hear the wee woo, and then yeah, I don't know. Justin, what did you find funny in this?
What got me, there was only a couple bits. Sometimes the bad dubbing, it was occasionally funny. When I say occasionally, like once or twice, I was like, huh. That was about it. I found the voices grating pretty much immediately. It was just too much right out the gate, and it just reminded me of being with my high school friends and being underslept and trying to be funny, and it was hilarious in the moment, but outside of that, it just didn't do anything. But I like the guys, they're like training, and they're like, our sexual preferences are our own business. Alfalfa. And then later on they come back, it's like, one of us is wearing a push-up bra. And it's just like dumb, random, something about all of them in unison saying it. I thought that was funny. I don't know why. Humor is one of those things. It's hard.
RJ, what about you? What did you find funny in this movie besides the entire thing?
Yeah, besides the entire thing, I thought the baby was the funniest opening. Honestly, like
it's such a ballsy cold open, and then they double down on it. And I thought that was it really sets the tone for the whole film.
I definitely found the whole movie funnier the second time because like I've watched all those Kung Fu Bruce Lee movies on Spike TV back when I was
grew up watching them,
and so I was able to get the references the first time I saw it, but the second time it maybe just had a nostalgia effect, and I was just like, yeah, this is hilarious. So I was bought in immediately.
We are entering the fist right now. Quality candor.
That just makes you a beta cuck.
Lordy.
Oh my goodness. The go for nunchucks. I will never not laugh at. I don't know.
didn't laugh at that.
That's because your soul is dead and your heart is cold.
Well, it's. I mean, of course, it was like expected, but it's like, again, it's like, yo. Then he takes out some beavers and he makes nunchucks out of it. And then it's put on film. You're like, yeah, what's the joke, guys? It's not really. Like,
what about when he messed up his hands and she's helping him make his hands? Does it hurt? No.
It's so stupid.
Put salt on it. Get all the way up to liquid mercury and acid. It only was funny because she kept doing more things. That's the only reason it was funny.
Did that bit better years earlier.
So many things, so many other stuff has done so many of these jokes so much better. Like Monty Python, like when the whole look back, he keeps getting farther and farther. I'm like, yep, saw that in Monty Python, The Holy Grail.
Yeah, it was funny then. It's funny now. I don't know what your problem is.
it's like that, but worse. Not worse. I like the Monty Python. I don't know. They know comedy over there on the Monty crew.
The whole movie was just textbook humor after textbook humor. I'm pretty sure. I guarantee you, you could teach a lot of that. I'm telling you, like
if I state it as fact, it'll make it true.
That's also a fact.
This movie is funny.
Yes.
Believe it.
On paper, it's funny.
Like Naruto saying,
it's one of those movies. It's kind of like my dad did, how he describes old Jim Carrey movies, because he did not like Jim Carrey when he first started making like big funny movies that I grew up watching. But after watching it like 7 or 8 times, it gets funnier every single time. And this movie is a little bit like that for me. It gets funnier the more. This is
exactly like you trying to sell me on Wheel of Time. Like, don't worry, man. After the third book,
I wasn't trying. You asked me, you
but then it
ridiculous.
You gotta watch it like 7 through 9. 3 or 4 times, and then it slaps, dude.
Legitimately, book 4 through 6 are like 9 or 10 out of 10s. Now, getting there can be a little rough, but
that's when the author figured it out.
Sold, man, sold.
I'm not trying to sell you. You asked me. Penisless. All right.
It's already been said, but I think it's worth restating. This movie perfectly encapsulates funny friend syndrome, without a better term for it, because you guys talking about the funny parts in this movie, you're going to get a laugh out of me. Hearing you say it, there's something about that human connection, knowing your personalities, and you saying it, it's going to make me laugh. But I'm with Bats. When I was sitting there watching it, I was just like, the whole time.
Now, Justin, I think there needs to be an amendment to your version, like your kind of what you're describing. Some movies are funny to watch, but they are funnier to quote. They can be both. They can be both.
That's funny friend. I think that's funny friend syndrome, though. I think, there is both. I don't think this is one of those. I think this is a movie that is not funny, but then if people talk about it, it is. I have the same experience with. I wanted to call it Will Ferrell effect, but somebody already coined that for something else. Will Ferrell's like that. I watch his movies and I'm like, it's entertaining, but I'm not like rolling on the floor. But whenever people start quoting it, I'm like bawling. I'm like,
gonna wipe my ball sack on your drum set. Don't you do it, Brennan?
Out of your mouth and out of the actors.
I don't agree, Justin. I don't think this is even that.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think this is you talk with your friends and it's funny. It's like he fought a cow and then the cow shot milk at him.
That was funny. That's a funny scene. What are you smoking, dude?
You pitched it too well. I mean, that, like,
Yeah, he fought a cow, then it shot
fights
milk
a
at him.
cow.
There was a better way to do that. Yeah, I guess I.
What's a better way to shoot milk in a Matrix-style action scene involving a cow?
Well, I like that. It was like the milk thing before. I don't know. It's just like I felt like they should have kept the Matrix
Then
tempo.
he died because he just ran out of milk, like it was like being sucked by. I don't know.
You know what would have
it's
made me
hilarious.
enjoy that scene better is if instead of doing a CG cow, as if they had like an actual cow prop, like guys in a suit or something.
That'd be
It just
hilarious.
really leaned into the low budget
Yeah.
rather than just having. I don't know if that CGI was good at the time.
But they cut
Or
to
not.
like
Kinda
they,
is.
They do quick
Yeah.
cuts to like real cows.
That's where $9 million of the budget went to the couple
Yeah.
CGI scenes.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like a suit would have been funny. Although it is fun. It's interesting that we almost watched Top Secret and then also has a cow scene in it. That's pretty.
That is interesting. Yeah.
I would have. I wanted to watch Top Secret again.
I was happy with all the choices. Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, like the polls each week are shocking me because we're depending on the taste of other people. And I've occasionally been wild. Like I sometimes just pick a movie that I want to watch. Other times I pick a movie I'm like, I think this might win.
Yeah, it's just when you pick a
Jersey,
movie-
you might be onto something there. Yeah.
I think that goes
RJ.
for any kung fu movie.
Yeah. That's
I
fair,
agree.
that's fair.
I agree with
I
that.
think that's a good way to evaluate if something's bad. If you need to smoke. To enjoy
Yep.
it.
Well, if you're laughing at how bad it is, and that's the point. It's like a
Dude, Where's My Car is designed for that. But
Where's My
I've never
Car's
watched
hilarious.
it any other way. Yeah, that's a great movie. Actually, yeah.
I need to rewatch that one. I bet I would still probably enjoy that one, even if it was kind of dumb.
I think you might
It is-
not because you're wildly wrong. Anyway.
My favorite bad martial arts movie to this day, though, is still Samurai Cop.
That movie is so
I
bad
watched
it's
that
funny.
A few months ago. It was,
Oh, what
Samurai
about the
Cop 2?
it's a
Tommy's
wild
Wiseau
one.
in there.
oh no! I
It
didn't
is
know.
what about
so-
you ever see
so
the
weird.
Revenge of the Ninja movies? You ever see those?
No. What is Revenge of the Ninja?
It's an old 80s action film. They have robots that are trained to be ninjas, and there's a coke dealer in LA, shocker, in the 80s. A lot of fun things, but yeah. I think Razor Fist might have actually covered it on one of his movie videos, but yeah.
So what's some other highlights of this? All right, like we talked about the cow scene, and I'll agree. Like you got a chuckle out
Some
of
of
me.
the stunt work was kind of impressive, actually. You kind of get lost in the sauce a little bit because, and they'll occasionally like throw in like a rag doll, which is kind of funny because of course they did so obvious it's meant to be funny.
I
But
like
some-
I
yeah.
liked when the scene he got beat up a lot.
Yeah.
Like it was okay. It was decent.
Which makes no sense because when he was a baby, he like kicked the bad guy's ass. But then
Yeah,
when he
yeah.
was an adult.
Continuity
He's a
isn't
reverse
really a
mace.
thing
Yeah,
in these kind of movies.
yeah.
I liked the scene where I don't even remember the talking. The dialogue wasn't great, but I appreciate what they were trying to do. I think he was like, "I'm gonna predict that you change your shirt," and the guy was in a black shirt, and then it was just red. And I feel like the dialogue probably could have been better, but it was just like, wait, who was the speaking of continuity, who's in charge of the continuity there where it was that off? Like, did the guy do a wardrobe change? Was there a scene cut that had significance
Right.
in the original movie? But I like that they called that out. That was kind of
Yeah.
fun.
They do
So
that
it
a
make-
couple
yeah.
of times.
Yeah, with the transition to the bed. So I guess that was them using like old kung fu clips. To me, I thought it was like them doing it intentionally, and I'm like, okay, if it's intentional, it's not really funny. But if you're making fun of somebody else doing it, it's funny.
I think the non-consensual rubbing scene when the guy was wounded wouldn't fly today.
Oh, dude, I almost forgot about
Probably
that
right.
scene.
Probably right.
That one's burned in my memory as the most
Or
disturbing scene
it
of the whole
would-
movie.
No.
Oh, dude.
Now,
There's something in
that
this for both of us.
Now,
that was
is
the
there
other
something-
really funny
Okay.
thing. This is whatever his name. We trained him to be bad at kung fu on purpose. that
Yeah,
was
that guy was
hilarious.
good. Yeah.
Yeah,
I just wish they did more with it. I didn't really think the follow through with the
Okay,
joke was.
what about
I
the
love
scene
that.
get when you cross an owl and a bungee cord?
My ass. And what about the scene where he's tested? He's tested
Oh,
by
yeah.
his like acolytes, and they all just beat the crap out of him. With sticks.
Yeah, he just keeps on getting
He's like,
hurt.
I'm
I
gonna
love
fend
it.
all of you off, and then just like flex you off of me.
You know, frankly, Joe, if you had more joy in your life, you'd probably like this movie. I'm just saying, it's what the people want.
Sure.
And a good example of like the style of humor is like right away in the beginning, like just how it opens, it builds up. It's like, okay, we're in like this weird medieval setting, maybe in like Japan or something. Like, where is this? You're trying to figure it out.
No idea. Where could they ever be?
And then all of a sudden,
Canada.
I was
Probably
really
Canada.
wondering where they could be.
well, in the first few seconds, in the first few seconds.
Yeah, a couple Asian people. Where could they be?
Yeah. But I love how there's a moment where it cuts away to the bad guy, like literally with a torch lighter. He has
Oh,
a
Oh
torch
yeah,
lighter.
yeah. I was like,
That
what the torch
When
lighter.
it goes back into the medieval shit. It's like, okay, anybody who catches that is gonna love this movie. But
Yeah, but again, it was like one of those things. I'm like, I think that was like funny for them talking with their friends, like, oh, we're gonna use a torch lighter, and like
Yeah.
in the movie, you're kind of like,
it's good shit though.
Why?
You cut away for like a few seconds, and it's just long enough to realize it's a torch lighter, and like you got to put it together in the next. I don't know. It's just that's good shit to me.
sure.
Okay, so the real question. Unfortunately, two of you are wrong, and there's 5 of us on this panel, boy.
Yeah.
So, final thoughts. RJ, final thoughts,
It's too
and whether
early
you think
for
it sinks.
Final thoughts.
What more do you want to discuss? You don't like the film, and you're just trashing it.
I don't
I
know.
do
I
have
have
my
a-
conspiracy.
Try to win us over. I don't know.
I have a question though.
I'm not going
Is
to
your-
win you over. You're joyless.
You always do this. You always try to go right to the final decision well before we're done talking
You
about
gotta
it.
wait for the mail-in. vote.
Okay, Justin, what do you got, man? What do you got?
I was gonna say, is your enjoyment of this movie, is it somewhat predicated on whether or not you watched a lot of the old kung fu films? Because I haven't seen many of
100%.
those.
Yeah. Well,
So that might also.
I think
be
it helps a lot.
Oh,
Yeah.
no. I've seen plenty of old school kung fu movies.
I've seen him too. And I think a lot of the humor does.
I've seen
point-
more.
We need numbers, boys. How many
Yeah.
have you seen? Who do I trust here?
I don't know, dude. I was usually sick when I was watching them as a child at my grandparents' house, but I watched every single old Bruce Lee film. I watched a bunch of old Jackie Chan ones, a bunch of
Absolutely.
even ones with Jet Li back in the day. I've even seen some non kung fu like Japanese old movies that I couldn't really understand, but it was fun.
Yeah, if you've seen the 70s Hong Kong movies, like, this is just an enjoyable movie. It's made
What
for
wa-
people who would make fun of those movies and just know those movies.
What was that? There's a black version of like a kung fu movie back in the day. I don't remember what that was called.
Yes,
Dynamite?
Bruce Leroy was like the character,
Oh, I
right?
forgot about that.
I know
Leroy.
what you're talking about. I can't.
Because they referred to that in Undercover Brother also.
Yeah.
Bruce
Oh.
Leroy was in The Last Dragon. Is that it?
The Last Dragon, yeah.
yes.
That's what it is, yeah.
The Last Dragon. Yeah.
No, I haven't seen that
That's a
one.
good one.
Now, for those of you that are on the team of this is absolutely like funny, it's comedy gold, it gets better every time you watch it. Can you see at all how maybe someone would watch this and think the exact opposite of that? Or are you just like, no, that doesn't register at all?
Oh, for sure. I could see it. Like,
yeah.
I could see how a lot of people think Kung Fu Hustle's funnier.
Yeah,
'Cause, like,
I could
that
see
actually-
it, but
It is factually.
I thought Kung Fu Hustle was. I
interesting.
remembered it being funnier. We rewatched it. It did not. I barely chuckled.
Yeah, it doesn't land with me because
I don't
it's
know,
actually
man.
like good CGI. That's where I'm like, well, I can't laugh. It's silly, but it's actually well made.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like you got the story. Like if you don't like the comedy in Kung Fu Hustle, there's still a pretty decent story in there.
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Story.
It's got a
It's
decent
like the most
story with
generic.
good.
It's so generic that is almost funny. It's how generic.
It should be
I-
a joke.
I
not something-
disagree.
It seems too serious to like really laugh at.
Yeah, it couldn't. It was kind of like the movie. What was it? Not Hitch. The movie Hancock. It couldn't
Oh,
decide
man.
whether it wanted to be serious or funny,
Yeah.
and then it kind of
No,
didn't do either one very
It
well.
wanted to
Sorry.
be good for the first half hour and then not be good for the next 2 hours is what it decided about itself.
Kung
Yeah,
Fu
Hancock
Hustle.
went from like a
No,
parody to a
Hancock,
Marvel
Hancock.
movie. by the
Oh
end.
yeah, Hancock is great in the beginning when it's just a comedy, and then it gets super serious and like
Hancock,
Justin
I
would
just
say,
remembered what
that's kind of a
Hancock
downer.
was.
Kind of
You
a
know what?
downer.
I'll
That
say
is
that's
such
a pro.
wait, that's a stupid movie, man.
Hang
It
on.
is.
There's
You
a point
can't
here, though.
compare the two.
This is an absolute pro. I'm going to give this a big pro for this movie. It never gets serious. And I like when comedies stay funny from start to finish. A little bit of drama, okay, but there was that trend in the early 2000s with like rom-coms and stuff. It's funny for an hour, and they're like, "Oh, well,"
And
now
then
I
it
got
gets
feelings
dramatic
for
and
this
not funny at
girl,"
all.
And then
Yeah.
exactly, and it doesn't get funny again until like the very end. Then it like it's like a light chuckle, and I'm like, you stopped being a comedy at like 1 hour in, and I'm not a fan of that. So
yeah,
I
it's
do
like they made
appreciate-
two. It's like they made two different movies. Like one of them's like, I like to dance on stage and make people laugh, and the other person's like, I want tears.
Yes.
now.
And so this movie, like Harold and Kumar, funny start to finish, and never really veers from that. I do appreciate that at least.
I would say the difference between the two movies, Kung Fu Hustle and Kung Pao, would be Kung Pao.
One of them's good.
Is pursuing the fun.
Yeah.
Here, it invested stats into the fun category, right?
Yeah, Justin,
Wait,
the most fun movie we watched in a while, and you don't like it?
Here's the
I
thing.
didn't think it was fun.
You're
That's
right.
The difference, I guess.
You're writing a comedy. What's also like, of course, the main objective is to get people to laugh, but what's also keeping you from tying in a good story as well?
A good story.
And that's where I think Kung Fu Hustle excels.
Yeah, no, because it's a terrible story. Your whole point's moot. Real quick, Tim Allen asked us, okay, panel,
Kung Fu Hustle.
name your favorite Kung Fu flick. Now that's hard. For me, it has to be.
Oh, it's Drunken Master.
I'll get back immediately.
It's Drunken Master, no doubt.
It's a good movie, but I like the old Bruce Lee films.
Is the prequel Sober Master?
No.
Is it funny now?
My ass.
Wee woo, wee woo.
Black Dynamite.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I forgot about her. She was. There was a lot of jokes that they just kept hitting you over the head with.
You guys remember the old Bruce Lee films where there was a character, the love interest in the movie was literally named Chow Mein because of the English dub?
No, I don't.
You guys don't remember that?
Chow Mein is tasty, so I'm interested.
And what's funny is Bruce could speak English by that time. And so, like, sometimes he would speak English and no one else would. They would be speaking Chinese and then they dub it over with an American actor. And it's just,
now I need this movie, but it's like Americans or it's dubbed over and somewhere else. And like, this is my girlfriend, Cheeseburger. You're like, yeah, Cheeseburger's a babe.
Wasn't there that one guard that he walks up to and he's like, hey, do you know where Master blah, blah, blah is? And then he's just like...
yeah. They're making fun of the whole thing. Yeah.
And all he says is, I don't know. And it's just like he's going on and on. Yeah.
I did like the dog barking. And it like...
Yeah.
And
dog.
and then the bark was later. I'm like, okay.
See, it gets funnier the more you talk about it.
They did that joke in Wayne's World.
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, it's like
No.
I've seen all these jokes done in better movies.
This movie's not going to win an award anywhere, and it
I'm
shouldn't.
not saying it's going to win an award. I'm just saying it's not good.
This was like an hour and a
What is
half
that
of
point?
that scene in Wayne's World. Extend that.
Yeah, it's just Bats. It's just more of Wayne's World. What's your problem?
It's just not. It's a cheap
Also,
knockoff.
Justin-
It's a cheap Chinese knockoff. Damn it!
I'm going. Hey, not made in China. Anyway, Justin,
Hey,
you have rules for what you like in movies, but then you break the rules. It doesn't make any sense. So
Swing, swing.
Swing.
A little late on
Anyway,
that.
RJ, real quick.
I never break the rules except when I do. Just remember that.
All the time. So for RJ, Evele does not like people doing bad things in movies. And the movies also have to be fun, which also usually means bad. Now, an exception to the rule, he liked Scott Pilgrim versus the World, but every character in that movie is an asshole.
Oh, yeah.
Every solitary one. He's like, yeah, but this one's fun. And now, like, we watch this movie, a terrible movie that's very fun, and he's like, I don't know. I don't really like. Yeah, it's not for me. What do you want?
I don't know. I just felt like the gags they had a limited gag bag they reached into, and if the gag doesn't land with you and they keep doing it, I'm like, guys, you didn't have me the first time. And like, what if I keep talking like this? I'm like, no, I still don't like the voice. Like, but my name is Betty. I'm like,
so
that's
great.
still not
Listen
doing
to
anything
it.
for me.
The Betsy
And so
joke
it's
was
like,
Carbonated
flat.
soda.
Master
Yeah, I don't get
Pain.
it. And then they kept doing the other bit that they repeated a bunch was the footage would like cut and then it would cut back to the same piece of footage. The first time they did that, I was like, oh, that's funny. I would do that if I was editing this. And then they did it again and again and again. And I'm like, guys, like, come on. It's almost like they're like, we're only like half hour and we're out of ideas. Like, just do that same gag again. Like, all right. And they just kept going with it. I don't know.
What about punching a hole straight through the guy? And
Yeah, that
everybody-
was great.
And then Adam Sandler talking about the shape of it and what it was and if it would even make sense. I'm like,
Wait, that was Adam Sandler?
No, but heck if it didn't sound like a guy trying to do an Adam Sandler impression.
Did, yeah.
It's like, oh man, how does he have the guts in there and everything? That didn't even make an insurance. I'm like,
That does sound like an old Adam Sandler bit. Yeah.
I don't know. It didn't make me laugh, and then they did it again. And I'm like, come on, man, come on.
Now, what I'll say is I'm glad that it's in a movie like this that's a comedy and not like a modern Marvel movie, which makes me want to just like slam my head against a wall.
It has a little bit of a Mystery Science Theater vibe, doesn't it?
I was going to say it was like a less enjoyable Mystery Science Theater is one of my notes.
Say less. Just say the last part of that.
Now, if there was a Mystery Science Theater of this movie, I might enjoy that.
That's kind of a hilarious idea. Yeah.
Just make an extra man and
Probably
replace them
is.
with like, yeah, that could be something.
That's a good idea.
I don't know, man. Humor's like that. If the humor doesn't connect, humor's different for different
That's
people's
true.
tastes. If it doesn't connect, then that's the whole movie. I mean, it's hard to.
We need to have a Jim Carrey week.
I guess you just got to have an appreciation for fun.
There's a lot of movies from Jim Carrey.
Don't you? How dare you use my criteria against me? I have no offense. How dare
this
you?
movie, man. It's the definition.
I should be. Yeah, nah.
The definition.
Alas,
think
is
I
there
would've-
any... Go ahead.
Love this movie. If I had seen it whenever I was a youngin, and I know you guys are a little bit younger than me, and if you saw it when you were kids, I think I would have that appreciation.
Now, to be fair, Justin, it came out when I was very young, so 2002. So I would have been like 8.
Perfect age
But
for this movie to be the funniest thing.
I didn't watch it till I was a teenager. So
I
Yeah.
saw it whenever. I
Well,
was like,
you are Kahuna, so it takes you a lot longer to grow up than the rest of us. But you know,
I was 210 pounds in 6th or 7th grade. What the hell are you
I
talking?
meant mentally. All right.
oh, I didn't follow either.
Says the short bus
whatever.
retard. Okay,
That's why it has extra weight.
he's literally on a short bus. What do you
Anyways,
mean?
I know you're about to go to the
Takes
sink
one
or
to know
float.
one.
That's the autistic
true,
kid
yeah.
looking at the Asperger's can be like, you're really fucking stupid.
That's exactly what this is right now.
RJ,
all right.
I apologize for us in
Yeah.
general. That's all.
It's
All right.
it's good to be
So-
here. I look orange. Orange is bad. I hear. I'm gonna turn off this light. That better? That's probably
I
better.
thought you looked fine before, but you look fine.
Yeah.
now.
You can maybe tilt your camera down a little bit, unless you're not
Yes.
wearing pants. In which case, leave it the way it is.
Before we get into
There you go.
RJ's awesome project, you guys want to hear my
Well, no, we gotta before we
We
do
got to
that,
vote, boy.
We gotta vote.
Well, yeah, that's usually the final thing, but yeah, conspiracy. One
I would love
okay,
to
go-
hear it, but
is it-
let's
is
vote.
it
Let's
do the
vote
movie?
first. Let's vote.
yeah, it's
first.
for the movie. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Tell your
Yeah.
conspiracy.
Oh yeah, it's a quick one too, but like, all right. The summary here is the elites use this movie to admit that the aliens are out there, and it's all staged for Project Bluebeam. It's all Project Bluebeam. They're admitting
That makes
it.
a lot of sense. I'm with you.
Yeah, I got you.
AC, you got to bring the crazy energy a little bit more. You got to be slamming the table and
And
like
the aliens
More
are
sweat.
they're already here.
I went with the word symbolism.
Interdimensional.
I went for the word symbolism for the thing that we're not talking about yet. I should have went with like something crazier, like
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
that's
I
what
need to
was
see
going
this episode of AJ though. He's like,
I know.
have you seen it? 2002 movie Kung Pao. Have you seen it? Where's
Yeah.
everything?
for. Exactly.
sign up by the Chinese government. They're turning the freaking gophers gay. I don't know. Something.
The cow was one of the first
Name the
chimeras.
milk.
Human.
think
All right,
about
Jay. This is.
chimera.
Each character
They had helicopters in their blood. That's the power.
All right, let's move. Let's move on, everyone. Let's move on.
putting it in the
RJ, this is where we're at the point where we decide whether the movie sinks or floats. What is your decision?
I say floats.
All right, Justin, what do you think?
I didn't like it, boys. I'm giving it a sink. It sinks like a buoy.
Sinker. AC, what do you think?
float.
Floats. Kahuna, what do you think?
Sorry. What? Did you say something?
What do you think? Does it sink or float?
It floats.
Well, as a comedy writer and as the defining opinion, I think it sinks. But fine. All right,
real quick, real
RJ.
Now, guys, we have to be mature about this. Losers.
Let's carry ourselves with modesty and you suck. You lost.
You suck balls, dude. You were so wrong. You don't even know.
If you keep doing that, something you do not want, is going to happen to you with 100% certainty.
Also, RJ, if you're wondering why Justin said floats like a buoy, it's because that's how Battsauce is talking about something.
Dude, you guys, okay, let's settle this right now.
It sinks like a buoy. That's what he.
I said. No, you guys keep misquoting me. We were watching The Day After Tomorrow, and there's a specific scene in that movie where they said the buoy sank, and I'm saying, like in the movie, this
Right,
like
we
the buoy
understood.
sinks.
We're misconstrued.
And they're like,
yeah, but you
buoys
didn't
don't
add
sink.
that context when you said.
No,
you
I
said,
did. It was there. You weren't
afterwards.
listening.
Afterwards, you did, but before you said it sinks like a buoy.
No,
I understood.
Like in the movie, I said it. Play the
Guys, I said it. Okay, good time. Anyway, so
it's still funny to pick on.
We will add that whenever we continue to quote it.
So, anything before we have RJ talk about his stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. What? Anything? What? Well, we have a Discord, guys. Can you paste that? If you want to have like decisions, a little bit of power in the decision of the shows, come join us. We talk. We'll even fight with you because you've got probably bad opinions. Prove me wrong. But join the Discord. Where is it? Right here. Oh shit! Can you copy and paste that again? I'll copy and paste it. It's a long time though.
Join the Discord. Enter the short bus.
All right, let me see. Boom. All right. And okay, all right, RJ, you have a project.
I do.
All right. Oh, is this? You want to play this?
So hot.
Right. Did that autoplay? Was that me?
I'm not sure. That's still fine. It's a good way to start.
Right.
Trail is a good way to start. So I tried dropping my Substack link in the comments. It didn't go for some reason.
If you put it in the private chat, we will. It's because you need a little bit of admin rights. Just put it in the private chat. I'll share it out.
Yeah, you need us to. Yeah.
So, so my Substack is my mailing list. So best way to get updates is to get on the Substack. Sooner I get people on the mailing list, sooner we launch the project. And also, added benefit to getting on the mailing list, subscribe to the Substack, is you get a cool free pop socket. So this is the original Orion right here.
Ooh, yeah, that's cool.
He shines. It's actually really shiny, pretty cool. Everyone's a fan of
Is that a pin or what is that?
It's a pop socket. So you put it on the back of your phone.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah, that's cool.
You used to hold your phone up.
Hey, write that idea down, guys. Write that idea down. Merch.
Sock pop what? Okay, yeah.
Pop socket.
Good one.
Yeah, so everyone who subscribes to the mailing list, responds to the welcome email. You don't have to reply all, obviously. Just reply to me and give me your mailing address. I'll mail it to you, no cost. And there's an added benefit if you post on social media a picture of your pop socket, tag me in it, or something so I see it, and I'll make sure you get a discount code for 20% on when I launch the project. And that applies to all the merch as well. Speaking of merch, I'll play my second trailer for it here.
Oh,
nice.
Please do.
Also, I'm going to be at SplatCon. You can meet me and a bunch of old school Nickelodeon stars, my former cast members, voices from Invader Zim and Rocko's Modern Life, and there's so many cool people there. So come out, see me, take a pic with me, and see my band play. We're gonna play. My good buddy Ross has a comic book, and he made me one of the characters. And you can buy a print of the character, and I'll autograph it. just for you, and you can have that and frame it on your wall and pass it down through generations. It can stay in your family, put it in that cedar chest. So generations to come and be like, look, it's Lisa Foyle's. It's a Lisa Foyle's signed artifact. This is amazing. Anyway, his comic book's amazing, and my character is so cool. So I'll link to that, maybe.
Tight, yeah!
Well, that's awesome.
I like her manic energy. Like she's like almost can't even sit still.
And that's not an act either. That's really how she is.
So there's one important thing that we haven't touched on yet with you is you're actually a very special comic book creator, very close to the Iron Seas, in fact, because you happen to be a Stone brother, as we call it.
I am.
Did Luke Stone do her art there?
No, this was done by Johnny, JP7 Art. This is the trading card here. So this is currently up on Fund My Comic. You could get a 20% discount if you just post a picture of your free pop socket you would get on my Substack. On the backside, Lisa. And then also there's an option for a signed card as well. And I'm probably not going to do too many of these because I definitely don't want to devalue a trading card. So the earlier you get it, the better. Also, you could pre-order the book, save money that way. And also, since we're talking about the merch that you'll be able to get discounts on with your pop socket, I will soon be launching a miniature campaign. So these are 3D printed miniatures of the F-26 Aerostar from the comic book Call Sign Orion. So you could get a regular 3D print standard here. You can paint yourself if you're like a Warhammer miniature kind of person. I paint them. You could buy that as an option. I got a glow in the dark option, and you'll also be able to get a pre-ordered book with those as well. So getting that merch helps get word out, helps spread popularity. You could pre-order the book that way. So I recommend doing that. Go on Fund My Comic for those things.
Heck yeah, dude.
When I do launch the book, I'll have like matte and glossy. Like here's a little preview of what glossy looks like. You can tell my light's all shiny. It's like fighter jets and babes and explosions and like what's not to like. Also, I haven't mentioned yet the script.
The aesthetic, real quick, the aesthetic. I don't know anything about the story, but the aesthetic is very pleasing. It's not over the top in a bad way. I like the colors. I like the design so far. It's really nice to look at, which is not always true, unfortunately, of comics coming out.
Yeah, Luke's a great sequential artist, and Patrick Gamma, his colorist, is really amazing. I think he really understood the assignment. Let's just say that. Because a lot of the book follows a space battle in a nebula, and it's a very action-driven script. Which, by the way, is edited by Mike Barron. I haven't mentioned that yet. That's a little tidbit there that people might be interested in. But yeah, very action-driven script. Everyone who's read it has told me that was fun. And I think it's pretty cool that everyone comes back to me and uses that word. Like, yeah, I had fun. So I think you're going to have fun.
You're selling to Justin right there.
Justin's like,
that's my favorite F word.
If it's for fun.
It's the F word.
Fun, right?
Is it the kind of thing? Oh, sorry. Is it the kind of thing then? Is it good for all ages?
I'd say it's PG-13.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a combination of like everything I love about sci-fi. So it's an action-driven dystopian sci-fi. So I took a little bit of Brave New World, a little bit of Starship Troopers, Battlestar Galactica.
Okay, so not space opera like, not in particular.
Actually, a little space opera like. I mean,
I like a touch of space opera in my
It's
sci-fi.
got a touch of space opera. It's got a touch of Star Wars in there, but a lot of like military Battlestar Galactica, Starship Troopers with like the dystopian of Brave New World thrown in there.
Nice. And so you wrote the story. Was that your part to play so far?
Yep.
Nice. Is it something a story you've had in your head for a long time? Was it something you thought of and just like, okay, hey, let's finally get this out there. Let's turn this into a comic and get the art and do the whole shebang.
Yeah, I've been cooking this up for a long time. You know, they say write what you know. So I went 1,000 years in the future, and it's about Navy SEALs.
It's about this dude. He's like the most masculine man you've ever seen. Women love him. So do the men. No.
RJ.
No, I had this story cooking in my head for a long time. There's a trio of main characters who you get introduced to in this book. It follows one of them, Orion. I've got other stories that follow the other characters. But this comic book series is going to follow Orion because his character really lends itself to a comic book story, I think.
Plus, it's a great name too, Orion. It's a underused name.
It's Irish.
It really is. Yeah, right.
So is this
my parent actually wanted me to make like a little Irish joke. Oh, it's like you don't know my name because you're not Irish. I'm not going to do that. No.
I don't put Irish in my books actually. No.
So is this got is it like mystery? Is it like hard sci-fi? Is it like a space opera? A little mixture of both?
It's definitely more of a space opera. It's
okay.
A lot of action, not mystery. It's very straightforward. Stop the bad guy, save the world, get the girl.
Do you like harder science in the story, or does it lean more towards rule of cool kind of thing?
Oh, it's definitely real cool.
Good, good. Like nothing wrong with hard sci-fi, but a lot of those guys take themselves a little too seriously when they write, unfortunately, and it's like the story has to be a little bit fun. Justin.
Yeah. So I think any good writer has like rules in their universe. There's definitely rules to how the technology works.
Right.
I need it to make sense, but I don't take it too seriously. Like that's why everyone I think comes back saying it's fun because that is the goal.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's like the main focus really isn't on the technology, more just the adventure, and the technology plays a part in the adventure.
Technology serves the story, not the other way around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I also appreciate the miniatures because it's expensive to do for some people, and it's harder to do it. It's not always a huge market for it, but like I got these from like these are Stormlight miniatures from like Brother Wise Games for Brandon Sanderson. Yeah, dude, I have like a whole stack of them up there. I used to spend 7 or 8 hours a day at Games Workshop growing up, and so I've always had a love of miniatures, and I love seeing the indie space kind of break into that and start doing that. It's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, the miniatures are a little bit of like me just indulging myself because what's the point of having a pew space opera if you can't have spaceships you're going to play with at home?
I know.
That was for me, but a lot of people want that too. So I'm doing that for me mostly.
Oh, but RJ, we're looking at the charts and saying it's actually going to lose you money. It's like, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's like he thinks the camera's off and he's going like pew 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 pew.
Right? No, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the trading card is for the collectors who take the collectibles rather seriously, which is great. Please do that and collect mine. But the ships are for me. Those are mine.
That's good.
Yep. No,
some for you, some for me. Yeah.
It's always interesting to see what people add as like extras or like add-ons to their different comic campaigns, and it's like one of them. I have my likeness is going to be one of the bad guy thugs in an upcoming comic, and stuff. I don't know. It's just fun to see what different people do. I like that you have the ships and the cards and all that too.
Thanks.
Yeah. So what can you tell us about the story? Is it like, do you have a short if it was a book, like front of the page, like what, like back of the book, what would the story say?
Mm-hmm. So Orion is the leader of like the Alphas. So in his day, that's like the Navy SEAL team, and his girlfriend is on a crew of mostly like civilians, like basically merchant marines, and they get captured by their enemies, the NIR. They're basically terrorists, and there's a hostage situation, and the NIR is demanding the release of their leader, who's in a supermax over on Earth. And rather than just buckle and release, they're basically Osama bin Laden back to the terrorists. They send in the Alphas to go kick ass. It's more personal for Orion because his girlfriend is on the ship with the hostages. That's the plot.
So she's in peril as well.
Yep.
Okay, that's fun. And what is whenever it's sci-fi, I'm always curious, like, what is the scale of the universe here? Is it like is it just the Milky Way? Is it just like the Sol system, or is it intergalactic and faster than light travel, things of that nature?
So it's mostly here in the Milky Way, but there are civilizations that are sometimes interacted with in the story. Not in this comic book, but in other parts, later on in the story, where you interact with this much older civilization that is intergalactic. It's kind of like Stargate, You see the Thor and their species, and they're intergalactic, but you don't deal with them too much. You don't really go to their galaxy too much. But they're around. They're super ancient.
Well, that's the thing, too. In a story, you can hint at things that are there, but you don't have to extrapolate everything. You can leave some mystery, which...
Exactly.
Like, do modern writers forget that? You don't have to explain everything. You can kind of leave some to the imagination.
It's funny, I did that in my first script, and my first script was a stinker. And, like, I'm glad I have friends who are just honest with me, because I'd explained way too much, and you just don't have to. And then think of, like, every great fictional work. They don't explain everything right off the bat.
but your ideas are so cool. They need to see them all.
Right.
That guys have been world building for like 10 years, and you guys have to understand it. And
it's
that's
just
how
like
it is.
everyone, especially like new writers or whatever, but it's like you get the good idea factory, and we all have it. And like the most important thing, the hardest thing to do is to filter out some of those good ideas to make a concise story.
You clearly don't watch Rick and Morty. You wouldn't understand the rules to my universe. It's very high IQ, very high T.
Yeah. What's some technology in here that might be different, or like I don't know,
or cool? How about that?
Yeah, it's cool. It's not different. It's mostly stuff you're used to, nothing you haven't heard of. There's faster than light travel. The Aerostars, as you might guess by their name and how they look, they're super fast. They just outfly everyone around. They do have rivals.
Did you base the design off of the stealth fighter a little bit?
Oh yeah, you could tell. There's definitely some.
Yeah, I'm looking at him like that looks a lot like the stealth fighter.
Yeah, it does. It's very inspired by a stealth fighter. It's meant to look super fast. Carries a lot of weaponry. So it's the perfect ship for I think a small force of elite fighters. Like the Navy SEALs basically are also a fire squadron because it's the future. Everyone gets around in ships, so they're a squadron too. Yeah. And that's the ships they fly. And they just outfly everyone because they're just ripping through everywhere. They're super fast. And I grew up loving Star Wars and X-wings, and later on Battlestar Galactica.
The era of the personal fighter that destroys the fleet. Yeah, I love it.
Exactly. That's pretty central. That technologically ray guns and missiles, bombs, all that stuff.
Any mech suits or like power suits? It kind of looked like they were wearing some sort of armor at least.
Yeah, so the alphas have. It's kind of like I don't watch a lot of Joe Rogan, but when I do, I learn a little bit about
interdimensional clockwork hills.
Yeah, right.
Who would write a book on that?
Right. No, he had this Green Beret on talking about how he would never want to fight a Navy SEAL team anywhere near water, and that's kind of how it is with the alphas. But like in space, that's kind of their element.
Oh, so they've trained in like 0G and how to maneuver in that environment. Yeah.
Yeah. So they have a suit that it's kind of runs on sort of battery power, and it has sort of Elon Musk would love this. It has a neural link to your brain. So like they could fly away from their ship, and then they could still control their ship remotely just by thinking about it. It's like an appendage of their body. So like when they're on a planet, say they're pinned down by gunfire, they could be their own air support.
Oh, so like Helldivers too, just like, can we call in like a giant orbital laser there?
Yeah, no, that's pretty much the same concept. So yeah, they fly around through space, and you do see that on one of the pages. One flies out of his ship and into another ship they blew a hole in. So
that's neat.
Yeah,
and so this is this volume 1? I'm sorry if I'm missing.
Oh, this is volume 1. Yeah.
Okay, sweet. And do you have how many like volumes do you have written, or like I have a script prepared at least?
I could like probably go to 4 or 5, but like I kind of have an idea of where I want to go in number 2, but it's pretty loose at this point. Like I know generally where I want to take the thing, and I know like I could divide it up into X amount of volumes, roughly speaking. And I am excited for where book 2 would go, but obviously first I need book 1 to be successful.
Well, sweet.
How many pages are we looking at for?
52. So 4 are drawn.
Nice.
So yeah.
Thank God it's not another 24-page comic. I don't know, like it's so hard to tell a story in 24 pages.
Yeah, it's hard in 52 pages. My original was pretty high, and I was really fortunate to have a great editor in Mike Barron to teach me how to really condense a story. I had way too many damn words on the page.
It's like, hey, you can just use a picture to say this entire like 4-sentence thing, or
He also had me just research he had me like read the unit and just like research like elite fighting teams, because and that actually really did help me actually condense the story and be.
I've worked with those guys. Those guys are a different breed of like human being, honestly. Yeah, they're a lot. They can be fun, but like their version of fun is usually like death-defying and dangerous. That's
right.
It's like, hey man, I have 2 weeks off. What if we climb this mountain without any gear, and then we like truck it through the woods for like 2 weeks? I'm like,
and you do get a sense of that actually early in this book. I don't know if I'm gonna do like an Ashcan sort of thing, like release a few pages, you know.
Like a
But
preview kind of
early in
thing.
the book, there is like a R&R scene where they're on vacation and they are doing stuff like that.
Oh yeah, see that? No, that's great, man. I love
Their
that.
idea of relaxing and not so relaxing.
Yeah.
But
It's
yeah.
like
All right.
it's like how my dad relaxes too. It's like, hey man, I need to decompress. I'm gonna go jeeping in the mountains in the snow by myself.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm also gonna spend the night up there. I didn't bring anything. I'm like, I love you, dude. Go for it.
That's what we do in Colorado anyway.
Nice. Yeah.
Nice.
How did you get into working
Hell
with
yeah.
Mike Barron?
We're neighbors.
Dude, that's sick. That's so cool.
Just walking outside like, hey, wait a you look familiar.
You know what's funny?
Take
Like
my
I got
script.
into the comic scene and I didn't realize how close I lived, like in proximity. And then it was Justin Belmont who kind of opened my eyes to that fact.
I was going to
And-
mention Belmont. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Belmont.
Yeah, he's
Smoke
great.
The Fox.
He's actually helped me a lot in getting this campaign
Yeah.
put together. So,
Yeah,
Oh, awesome.
yeah.
All of his advice is.
Well, you know what? He makes the pop sockets too.
Hell yeah.
Oh, that's handy.
Yeah. So get on the Substack, support Belmont.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Good deal. Good deal.
Get pencils down. I think he's got that going on
Yep.
right now too.
Yeah, no, I'm really liking the sound, like the story, the art, like what it's about. It's all sounding really up my alley. So it'll have to be included in my next like big creation phase where I look at a bunch of indie comics, volume 1, and like do my thing there. But yeah, no, that's really exciting, man.
Thank you.
Yeah,
good
got
to
a
hear.
great looking project. Great spokesperson. All that was hilarious. I love that show.
Yeah.
But yeah. On to the oh wait, let me do my thing. Big Wayne's World fans. Big Wayne's World fans. All right, so our first topic that we should talk about. What do you guys think? Satire versus parody?
Well, it depends on
you
when
guys
wanna-
can. I don't care about that. Topic.
Oh, thank you.
on when
All right, thank you.
It depends on when you guys want to go through that thread.
What thread?
Or like talk about that thing, I guess. If we're going to just talk about the ones we chose, or what the best one.
Oh, well, okay. So I think with like this topic, I was like literally specifically talking about like something that's making fun of like specific properties, not like the genre itself. And that's kind of where I was like, it's more satire than parody. Like, and very specifically,
Well,
what's
some
the-
can be. Some
what's the
can
Martian
be both.
alien one? Yeah, and I agree with
Like
that.
Mars Attacks, is that the
Mars
one?
Attacks, and I was like, that's to me satire, not really parody.
I know what you're saying. Satire is basically it's like making fun of a like using it's a vehicle that it's a criticism of that kind of like world, not a specific not a specific creative
version
work
of the genre as a whole.
Whereas a
pastiche, if you
parody
will.
is going after very specific works and making fun of like specific scenes or characters and that sort of thing. So
Well,
popular satires, Idiocracy, Borat, Blazing Saddles, maybe to a lesser extent, but
Basically
Spinal Tap,
anything AC
Airplane,
listed
Tropic
as an
Thunder,
option.
Anchorman, Mars Attacks, yeah. Yeah.
Whoop.
Whereas a parody would be like Hot Shots, I would say Scary Movie, Top Secret. What was the other one?
Top
Yeah.
Secret.
We were talking about Loaded Weapon.
Right?
I really
Loaded
wanted
Weapon
one.
one.
Yeah.
Loaded Weapon is so funny. Like Samuel Jackson with like Ching Chong. What? Oh, who go to the Chinese mother?
Tim Curry's excellent in that one too.
Yeah.
Wilderness Girls.
I love when they're in someone's house, like, make yourself at home. They just take your pants off.
I'm watching. I'm like, that's me.
RJ, every week we pick our movies, and every week AC will go through like just a laundry list of different movies, and every single one I'm like, no, and then eventually I'm just like,
just a stern
fine,
parent.
just pick that
It's
one.
true, every word of it. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows it.
Frankly, we all know it. Tremendous picks. You wouldn't believe it.
Yeah. Well, it's like you're very much trying to like pick the best, but like I don't know. I feel like we should pick we should pick the movie that very much fits the topic perfectly, rather than like.
See, you do like to pick movies that stretch the limit of what.
Exactly. He's like picking the best movie that kind of hits the topic, and I'm like, God damn it, dude. He's like, oh, we're picking comedies. Well, this has a funny scene.
What is
one scene
happening
in
in
it.
our
Let's
comments?
let's pick this movie.
Yeah, I the way I look at it, I pick big because you need to act bigly before we come around to year 2 and we can't pick these options anymore, right? We're getting them out of the way. You can think of it that way. So like,
We
I'm
only
gonna run out
can't
of
pick them
winners.
again if they win. If they lose, we can pick them over and over again.
Exactly.
Juniper Ascending.
Oh, that could get annoying.
Let's not go too much into
Battsauce
to the show.
shoved
Lord.
that into a category for like 3 different weeks.
But
And I
it's
finally said,
illegal right
screw
now.
it. Every single option is a variant of Juniper Ascending or Jupiter Ascending. But
Yeah. We're all saying Juniper.
That should be the parody, Juniper.
It kind of is.
Well, I kept saying it, and now I think we keep forgetting it's Jupiter.
well, it's a meme that we've forgotten is a meme. We'll just call it that now.
So
Have
do
you
all
guys
have a-
done?
Oh, go
Have
ahead,
you guys
sorry.
done Demolition Man yet?
Not
No.
yet.
No,
No, I would love to
should.
do Demolition Man.
We should have a Stallone week. That's a
Yeah.
tough
Stallone
week.
week would
Yeah,
be
that'd
great.
dope. Yeah.
So my love of Demolition Man actually did help push me towards doing Call Sign Orion.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Oh, like because of the dystopian aspects.
Yeah, because that is also based on Brave New World, but they went more with the like making fun of political correctness and also making fun of summer blockbusters while being a summer blockbuster. It's just
Yep.
the smartest dumb movie there is.
I really, it is really quite charming, and it's funny because both the main, like Stallone is obviously a very short guy, so trying to make him not look like a tiny guy on screen is always a challenge. And then they have Wesley Snipes. They're both these tiny dudes that always they film them to make them look huge, and I'm like, this is perfect. They have the right sized people this time. It's not like 5'7" Stallone versus 6'1" or 2" like Ivan Drago in Rocky
Right.
IV.
But hey, man, they were
Doesn't
right.
that-
Taco Bell is awesome.
Yeah, Taco Bell's the only rest. You know what's funny? And depending on which version you watch, you might see Pizza Hut because they changed that for European audiences.
I was going to say, speaking of Taco Bell, does Call Sign Orion as a callback to Demolition Man? Does it also have the 3 seashells?
No, well, there is no scene where anyone goes to the bathroom. But if I did have one, I should probably
There's a
just
fourth?
incorporate the seashells.
4 seashells? They added one.
That would be brilliant. I think I'm gonna do that now. Maybe book 2.
Do they plug in for cybersex? Is that what happens now?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, actually, yeah. People are made.
I knew it.
People are made in a lab, just like in Brave New World.
All right.
I need to. I've never actually checked out Brave New World.
So you know what's
I've
funny?
heard it. Yeah.
The character Lena Riley here, she's based on my friend Lisa, obviously. But Lisa, she like if you go to a hotel in Vegas, turn on like the TV, and you get that channel like things to do in Vegas. Like you might see her.
Oh, is she like
listening
in like a 4-second portion or something?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Like-
Dude.
Yeah, like we've gone out and like seen her like her sequin dress, like she's like on location, like filming like this is a great place to go visit and things to do. But it would be really funny. That's part of the reason why I made her like the news reporter character who like does the propaganda of the world. But it'd be really funny if like I don't know, I do some scene in it and then like there's bathrooms in the background with seashells. I don't know. I'll incorporate that somehow. She would be the one to explain these things.
It would be an easy enough thing, just a subtle joke in the background. Most people won't get, but yeah. Or it's like in some manga where they'll have like just characters from other properties just in the background, and it's never brought up or addressed. It's just like,
right.
I see that. What are you doing?
Now, is it a goal for creators, or would this be like a slap in the face to eventually have something, a property that's so big that eventually people are like, I'm going to parody your thing?
Dude, I would love that. Please.
That's what I like. That'd be cool. But I don't know if
Make
you'll be
fun
like,
of
"How
make
dare
fun
they?"
of me all you want. That
That's
Yeah.
actually that could be
man,
a
that'd
clue to some. That could be a clue to some like deeper, really good writing. If you really focus in on like what can I do to make people want to parody my IP? Like how can I make it more unique? It'll make it
You
like
can't want the parody. The parody just has to come.
Parody has to come to you.
Yeah.
well exactly
I'll read a
exactly.
script,
You
read
can
a
never fabricate it. But
Don't ask what the parody can do for you.
It
or
might
what you
clean
can
up-
do for the parody.
it might clean up some of the writing. Some writing is all I'm saying. Is like it might lead you down an interesting path if you just like when you think something still needs some work and you're kind of stuck. You could be like, well, how can I make it more unique in a way that like people could recognize it, right? If it is being parodied, if you catch my drift, like it's almost like when they talk about character design to really look at the silhouette, like your character needs a good silhouette so it could be recognizable, like visually.
Oh, that's just the basics of character design. Like,
yeah.
Take away all detail, just silhouette. Can you still recognize them?
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of
that's a
that,
great design philosophy.
Yeah, character design is super important. I'm kind of getting flashbacks to Fifth Element a little bit right now because it was like really surprising because it was one of the ones we watched and we just weren't as impressed.
I was extremely impressed.
I was impressed by the film. I don't know if I loved the film.
So that's what I mean, right? It wasn't as good as it was in our memories, but like character design.
I agree.
It was written by a teenager. Have you seen? I love the Nostalgia Critics video on it.
Oh yeah.
Because there's all these references, like it's like, oh, written by a teenager, you say?
Oh god,
no way. Looking back, we watched Fifth Element, and then we also watched what was the Arnold one? The memory one.
Total Recall.
Yes. Total Recall. Total Recall was so good.
I was so impressed by Total Recall, and then we watched the Fifth Element. Never seen that before either. I was walking away like, why is this a big thing?
God damn it!
It's just shocking to me.
Because it was fun, man.
You're killing the Fifth Element.
Justin again with the fuck.
Now here's a question: parodies, they used to do them pretty regularly. We talked about like epic movie, date movie, dance movie. I think.
Well, comedies are dead in general.
Oh,
sure.
comedies,
and that's people forgot how to be funny.
Well, we're in the year 2024, and let's
say that they're back in fashion, and you now can wave your magic wand, and you can create a parody that has not yet existed of any franchise you want. What are you choosing?
Sick.
I'm probably going Lord of the Rings. I think I'd like to watch a parody of that.
Nah,
that already exists. It's called Rings of Power. Yeah.
So
you do the Marvel movies, right?
Is Spaceballs parody?
Yeah.
No,
yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, so there's your Star Wars parody. So you can't do like
Spaceballs is mostly Star Wars. It's making fun of everything. It even makes fun of Planet of the Apes in there, which was pretty funny actually.
Yeah. Touches on everything.
I think that was History of the World where they did that.
No, they did it in Spaceballs for sure.
Oh, they did?
Well,
I don't know.
They probably done it both.
It might have been both, but it's for sure in Spaceballs. Yeah.
Well, we wanted to keep Mel Brooks specifically off Parody Week because we're like, he's his own category.
Whatever movie of
and
his
he's going to win.
Wins. Yeah. Like he is the king of that subversive, like kind of old school humor. Yeah.
I'm gonna.
It's like I almost picked Airplane for this week, but I thought it would just win, so I didn't want to.
Yeah, probably would.
Yeah,
it's gonna get picked eventually.
It will. I love that film.
The way I look at it.
RJ, what about you? Like, do you have a favorite kind of parody style film or a subversive kind of humor kind of style movie?
I do love, just in general, that 1970s Mel Brooks style of making fun of things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. People usually don't parody a comedy, but if I did, maybe I would. Like Cheech and Chong. I don't know. Stoners already make fun of themselves. But
I always wonder. Those movies were mostly miss and sometimes hit.
Well, that's what I was going to ask because I maybe seen one, maybe two, and I don't remember it. Do those movies hold up or
not even close?
Yeah. You don't think so? I think.
No one. The first White Castle might. But like I watched a 3D Christmas
Cheech and Chong was White Castle was a Cheech and Chong movie?
No, wait, no, I'm thinking Harold and Kumar.
Wrong stoners.
Sorry, dude.
Yeah, what?
Wrong stoners. That's the same film.
Mexican and Indian.
I got a good one. And you guys got to brace yourself. It's a real good one. Are you ready?
Okay.
I would want
my kahunas are clenched.
I would want the same energy that like someone like Mel Brooks or like the original minds behind like the Scary Movie franchise. Like that kind of energy that they brought where it's actually funny. Like it's actually funny. I would want that with a big budget, so funnier than all those things that came before. And it has to be called Disney Movie.
That'd
it's
be
nothing
great.
but shitting on what Disney's been doing.
What South Park did with the like Disney episodes, like that could be a franchise on its own.
Yeah.
Like there's just too much content. With
I'll be honest.
Disney.
I like clips of South Park, but I can't sit through an entire episode.
Oh man.
Well, like Justin always says, they very conventionally have left out a certain very specific high profile figure that they just
in the last
to
few
make
years
fun of.
they just tapped out of making fun of certain political figures. I'm like, come on guys, but they had an awesome run in there. Like the early stuff's a little bit rough, but man, like I don't even remember from like 2013 probably to 2018 or something.
Yeah, there's some absolute gold.
A lot of very funny comedy like shows, both animated and not animated, start off super rough. Like try watching season 1. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and just tighten the noose around your neck. It's awesome.
No, dude, it's so rough. It's kind of. Yeah,
oh no, really?
It's so rough. It's
all right. Tighten that
makes
noose,
it
I
even
guess.
Better.
They hit it right from the beginning, like with the racist jokes.
Yes,
the gay jokes.
It's
I
not
do
quite
have
as
to say-
polished, so it's a little bit more like barbed, and that kind of makes it fun in a different way.
Yeah.
A fringe animated comedy that really actually super impressed me was all the same makers of Rick and Morty, but like Rick and Morty themselves was going through a bunch of bullshit that they had like several years.
That show
like,
is so hit or miss, and it's gotten worse.
So like the same people, the same animators, they went and they did another show, and it's about like 2 aliens that are like secretly living in like our world and stuff. And
I think I saw a preview for that. Yeah.
So that it's not anything crazy, but what impressed me about it is they snuck it in the first season. They slowly built a narrative in the background, and this is great storytelling. This is why it impressed me, guys. You'll love it here. So it snuck it in right in the background by developing it passively, like almost like in a world building sense, that they essentially had an aquarium that they put all the tiny humans that they shrunk. Anytime they got into trouble, they would shrink the human and then just like put them in their pocket or something, and then bring them home and put them in the aquarium with the other small humans, and problem solved. Like
as you do.
Yeah. So at the end of the season, after it's well established, there's like a 2-part episode where just out of nowhere we're inside the aquarium. And
you mean a terrarium?
A terrarium, yeah.
Okay,
not
aquarium. Those people are not having a good time. They're just
no. It was like a terrarium.
It's such a downer, man.
Bro,
well,
inside the terrarium, it was like such badass Mad Max type like fucking world building.
Oh yeah, because all the bugs are big. Yeah.
And it had nothing to do with like the rats and stuff too. Like there was a rat milker. He was like a rancher. He had a pet rat that he like sold the milk out of. Like the whole thing was just great world building, guys.
You can milk anything with nipples.
I have nipples, right? Can you milk
it had
me?
nothing to do with the
back
show.
to
It was just great, but anyway, sneaking that
no
in.
parodies or comedies, really anything. It is a problem, right? Because I mean, it is true that Hollywood's just scared to make comedies, but it's like you got all these movies that are over bloated budgets and all that stuff that they can't really make their money back necessarily. And it's like, well, where's these $40 million comedies that are probably going to get their money back? You know what I mean? It's like comedy's way cheaper to make.
Yeah.
And they're just gone. And it's like, come on, give us comedy.
I like with comedies. I almost think it's funnier when they have a low budget, because they have to like that makes it depend on the script and the actors, and that's always more genuinely funny than any spectacle that you can make in a comedy.
Yeah,
and,
I agree.
And a fun fact is that comedy is actually one of the genres that indie creators should gravitate around for smaller budgets. I think there's like a holy trinity. It's like let's see, comedy, westerns, and horror, right?
I want to see Chrisman do a comedy. That should be his next project.
Yeah.
Please.
Well, one thing is like they have nothing to rely on. Like you really can't rely on your effects department or anything like that to kind of carry the movie, because like as we've seen, writing in general across the board is just, and that goes into like a multitude of reasons for like, you know, current day stuff, where it's just like people are more focused on writing propaganda than they are writing a good story.
Yeah, and when they're digesting your story, goes for comics too. Yeah, and when they're digesting your story, they're looking for reasons to be offended. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose
Well, I was gonna say, like, and that goes into like the reinventing the villain, right? like trying to change all the villains. Sauron wasn't actually all evil. He's actually just a misunderstood character. Not that having a misunderstood villain is necessarily bad, but it's about rewriting history, and that seems like the goal of all writers, or at least what they're being hired to do now.
And it also makes it. They also make it seem like having every villain sympathetic in modern media implies that everyone is just misunderstood. And
no, that is their belief. There's all this underlying nihilism in modern writing. And this is exactly how they ruined Star Wars with The Last Jedi. Star Wars is War of the Rings in space. It's dueling space wizards with laser swords, and they took away the element of good and evil. Well, that just ruined the whole thing.
No, it's even worse. They made the good guys cucky, weird guys living on an island in the middle of buttfuck nowhere.
With allegory.
I don't think there's a single film I hate more than The Last Jedi.
Do you notice that it's become like romantasy too? Like the lady protagonist of Star Wars always falls for the bad guy.
I'll be back, but I want to get more onto the romantasy topic. One sec.
Okay, well before that, here's something we could talk about. I'll ask RJ first.
I also have heavy thoughts on the villain thing, the romanticizing the villain or whatever. But if you you had something that you wanted to ask him quick.
This is just something that I've been curious about for everyone for a while. What ruins for you individually? What ruins a story, RJ? If you don't know, I can ask someone else.
I don't have an easy short canned answer. I would just probably say like when they break the rules. Like what we're talking about right now is like the genre has a rule, and not everything in the genre has to be the same. But when maybe it's more true when you're adapting something, or maybe just more obvious. But when you're adapting something where the source material is clearly about good and evil, trying to make it nuanced, I don't know, that it's kind of like Zack Snyder trying to be more and more edgy and doesn't always work.
Ruining Superman.
Being more edgy, being more nuanced isn't always the right option. It's not this endless supply of improving the story. It can only take you so far.
No, that's a good answer. Justin, what about you? What ruins a story for you besides?
Kahuna, there's all kinds of things.
I know there are.
Apparently, when it's too fun.
For me, like a lame lead. If there's a lead who's just kind of a loser that I can't get behind, or just isn't likable,
like the book we're reading.
Yeah, even if they turn it around by the end, I still have to go through the rough spots with them. I'd rather have a character that's mostly likable, but maybe makes some mistakes, than the guy who's the douche and then has to like learn to be good by the end. That can ruin it for me. I can't stand ambiguous endings. They drive me crazy. Like, commit to something, man. Film 2 endings, put it on as an alternate, but like pick one. Whenever a movie ends, like you can just discuss it. That drives me nuts. Slow pace can kill it for me. If the movie's too slow and I'm like losing my mind. Even a 1.5x, if it's getting slow.
He watches videos and movies at 1.5 or 2x speed, and I can't understand it.
You can absorb more content throughout the year. It's a good way to get through things.
If you kill a character I like, content.
Yeah, but you can still enjoy it at like 1.5. And a lot of people talk like this in normal speed, but then you put them 1.5x and they talk like I'm talking right now, and then it's totally fine.
Mother effer, you put me on 2x speed and I sounded like Ben Shapiro. You sent me the clip. So upset.
It's fine. If you kill a main character I like, that drives me crazy too. Don't make me like a character and then off them, because it always feels cheap to me, even if it's not, because you clearly hooked me in just so you could pull the rug out. That drives me crazy.
George R. R. Martin's your favorite.
Oh man, the first season of that show is just like I'm done. And apparently it worked out, because at the end, after 8 seasons, I guess it fell apart for everybody eventually.
That movie that show's trajectory was the exact same as Dexter, the TV show. Season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
It's interesting talking to people about Dexter, because it seems like everyone got off at different points.
Yeah, I've heard that too. My last one is not respecting the original material, swapping out characters, changing them drastically. That also, I'm not even gonna sit down and try it, because it's clear you have 100%. Something else in mind than telling the story that was meant to be told. So those are my big 4.
You want to yell about you want to live out your power fantasy in as entertainment, and it's not entertaining.
So many redheads just gone. They keep getting rid of the redheads.
They did it again.
Hey,
Yes, thank you for making
Bring back
Redheads.
redheads.
great again. That's
Buy
right. Bring them back.
call sign Orion today.
I want to find my comic. Look for the Lena Riley trade card. There you go.
Hell yeah, there we go.
Redheads. It's what's for dinner.
I'm wearing some Lisa Foles merch, by the way. This is her. The Temperamental podcast is her.
Oh, that's
podcast. It's
cool.
Crystal
Yeah.
Cat
I was
Cabin
gonna
Club.
ask about that. I'm like, I feel like I recognize that logo, but very cool.
Bats.
What's
Bats.
up?
What makes you hate something for sure, like a story?
What
It can be a
ruins a
movie.
story for you?
ruins
Yeah, just
it?
like
I mean-
what ruins it?
Yeah, there's so much. I mean, like, think of an easy one for me. It's like when I'm like see a hint of laziness, and that can come in many forms. When I can very off the bat tell that you didn't even bother to pull up Google for 2 seconds of your like story, and I'm just like, what's up, dude? Like 2024, like do research. Like, what's going on?
We have the internet with all of the
Yeah.
world's information. Yeah. Yo, hey, Michael Harris, welcome, man.
But
You know, it's
unlike
funny for me-
Justin, I'm very
Sorry, go ahead.
open to different types of stories. I'll even accept like some reimaginations of the original story, like Starship Trooper, which honestly is like I think one of my favorite like sci-fi books. I still like the movie.
You
I
can
like
like both.
both. It-
I like
definitely
the
love
book a lot,
book
and I
more.
also like the movie. Yeah.
To me, it's more about the intent of the reimagination. That guy, he really didn't like the book, but he still intended to make a good story. And all goes to that one word I keep using. It's propaganda. You know, if
Oh,
you're
I thought
trying
you were
to do
gonna say
something, no. If you're trying to do something for propaganda, get out of here. I think another one that is for me that can do it is like just trying to be too silly all the time. I think like very specifically Thor Ragnarok was one where I'm like, there was like a
hate
moment,
that
it just was
movie.
like disrespectful where the Hulk was like transforming into the Hulk for possibly the last time. You know, he might never go back to human form. Like, this is a serious moment, and they did it for a slapstick joke of him just falling on his face. And I'm
Splatting
like,
onto the
that
Rainbow
is
Bridge.
so insulting. Like, how, like, just guys, like, not everything needs to be a fucking joke. But
Yeah, no, that's an easy one. For me, what ruins a story? It's different for books and movies for me. But with a book, if people need to fit their settings, like the people and the setting needs to have cohesion. Like if a story like there's all these characters and they have these traits, but then the world doesn't reflect that, or if they seem like someone who doesn't belong in the world that they live. I want things to make sense within the world. It doesn't have to make sense to real life. It
Continuity.
just I need them to be no incongruity. It needs to be congruous. It needs to make sense. It needs to flow together. Like there's an anime I like called Gurren Lagann. I adore that show. It's really it's big energy mechs. It has nothing to do with military strategy. It's just screaming until you win. I love it. Yeah. But the world doesn't make sense, but it never breaks its own rules. It follows its own rules, and it makes sense within the rules of their universe. In that universe, if you have fighting spirit and you scream and you yell, that creates physical energy as well as mass within the rules of the universe. And so it makes, I don't know, it's a fun world, and I want things to make sense.
That to me goes into like kind of lazy territory where it's just like, whether you like it or not, your story has rules. Every time you have something, a reaction happens to a cause or whatever, an effect. Like, you just made a rule, right? If it's if you're saying it's other than our world, so keep doing that. It has to make sense. And I think sometimes they're just like, I don't know how to make it work in order to have the story go the way I want it to. And I'm like, just think about it for 2 more fucking seconds, right? You ever think about that? Like, just think about it. Because you could probably make it work. And I feel like that's true with everything. And if you really, truly can't make it work continuity-wise, well, then you probably have to change the story at a more fundamental level.
And again, that kind of ties into like the whole laziness thing that you like. I think we all hate when people are lazy in a like in a story.
Big theme of my new book, Tale of the Dunce Whisperer.
Speaking of characters doing stupid things, we got a story for you. No. No, it sounds like a fun time. I'm excited to read that book this year.
Yeah. Oh, what were we gonna say though? Sorry, you just was that it?
Oh no! You cut me off. I had lots of great things to say about your book, and now you're never going to hear it. So tough shit, man. I don't know. No. Final topic. Do we have time, or do you guys want to, like we have? It was the purpose of a prologue. We can talk about that, or something else. It's up to you.
Oh, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the purpose of prologue. Well, I think that they're like it's like does it suit the. Because I forgot how we originally phrased the topic. Or like, should you have one or not? It's like, well, if the story needs it, then yes. Because the prologue
if it's
has
a very big, deep, very deep fantasy world with lots of lore and history, and you need some of it as a setup. Like Lord of the Rings is maybe the prime example of this. The prologue in the book.
Well, the movie did I don't think the book had a prologue.
The book didn't. The movie did. I think the movie it was necessary, and I really liked the prologue for the movie. It was Galadriel, and she explained things in very few words in a very intriguing way over a short period of time, and it perfectly set the tone and expectation of the world.
Before we get to the prologue thing, which is vital, I think that's a huge thing.
It's good for
So
pacing.
vital.
Great topic. Do you guys want to hear what like shuts down a story for me right off the bat?
Oh, did we skip you?
Did we skip you?
Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, what's up?
Well, I think there's just like a few social contracts that you kind of like voluntarily sign when you pick up a book, and like when you create a book and when you buy a book. Like there's all this stuff here, and like you want to be entertained. If it's using an IP, it needs to be accurate to the IP. There is an element of fun. There's certain social contracts that you can cling to that makes you like forgive other things. But like for me, I try to stick to the big ones. Like Justin mentioned, the source material. Like if you're just blatantly disrespectful, like gone. I'm done. I don't even care if it's a good standalone story. Like I literally could not care any less how much money or who's in it. You don't give a shit about the source material. And people who are okay with that, they can cling to like the entertainment factor. So as long as that's good, it's just kind of like that kind of thing for me. If I can just genuinely tell that they don't give a shit in any sort of in any category, and it's distracting enough, it might make me just generally not like it. But I've never just shut off a movie. There's only one actually. There's only one movie. It was the new Matrix. That's the only movie.
My God! I saw that.
I literally don't even want to
festering pile in theaters.
Don't even want it. Why did I even put this on? Yeah.
Wow.
That makes sense.
There's a line where there's Matrix pre-surgery and Matrix post-surgery.
Oh my God.
It's a clear line.
Yeah,
That's all I'll say.
Yeah. There's a clear line.
Oh, bro. So bad.
So I guess shifting back to the prologue thing, I think Lord of the Rings is a great example because that's one of the criticisms people would give the book that majority people would agree that it takes too long to start off. And I think having a prologue could help that, right? Because prologues are essential or could hurt, right, to pacing.
It really depends. Sometimes what books will do, if they're smart, is if the books takes a bit of a time to build up or is boring, Justin, at first, they'll have a prologue that hints at the action and things, greater, the higher stakes things that will come later in the story.
That's what the prologue in the movies did. And that's why I think it was much more effective. Like, because a lot of people are just like, dude, they're in Hobbiton forever. Like, Frodo ages like 40 years. Like in the first couple of chapters, it takes a really long time. That's like I think the major agreement that people have as far as criticism over the books. Like the very few criticism people have is the beginning. Even though Fellowship is still my favorite of the three books. But yeah, and then my story, right? Because like again, pacing is important. I started off originally with a prologue, kind of summing up a little bit of the history. I felt having that and then kind of getting learning about these new characters and not having it really that action packed, I'm like, this is kind of boring. So I switched it up, and that's when instead of a prologue, I did a flash forward. Instead, because very easily a prologue for a lot of writers that could just drag a story down because they're just like, oh,
you're talking about Dawn Edge, right?
Dawn Edge, yeah.
Yeah, no, your flash forward in the beginning is a very it does a lot. I really enjoy that scene. It's one of the best ones.
Which is the last thing I wrote of the book, because I'm like, I gotta let people know what they're getting into some way. And again, a lot of people they'll just drag a story down with a prologue essentially because they're like, oh, there's such this cool history and everything else like that.
Well, they'll just do a lore dump without any reason for it. Not every story needs a lore dump right away. Some really help, and like this, it's not even really a prologue, but it's like a miniature version of it. Star Wars. The only thing it has it has like the text on the screen that kind of sets it up, but also just says in a long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. That's all we need. This is not in our place or in our time, and it's going to be this fantastical adventure, and it like the whole thing sets it up that way. I love that.
Yeah, the Star Wars scroll thing, it's iconic of Star Wars, but is it necessary?
In Star Wars, yes, just for the brand, but
it's definitely not necessary in the new trilogy.
No,
it's like not at all. Well, I guess like Rise of Skywalker or whatever. Like you kind of need it because they pretty much wrote like 3 movies in that fucking
that
somehow
somehow.
What?
Yeah.
I remember when he tricked the entire Imperial fleet into not shooting at him because of bad radio connection in the beginning? Yeah, I remember that.
I don't know. I think thinking back to it, I kind of would argue saying that the scroll wasn't really necessary in A New Hope, especially.
I think it was. In A New Hope, you've never seen Star Wars
because
before.
of what was filmed. Because if you know, as many people know, that was not the original edit of the movie. George Lucas's wife completely changed it. It originally opened with Luke and his friends looking at a spaceship in the sky. It was a completely different thing. So I think the scroll was a part of the, as an editing choice to be like, okay, I don't have any other better way to start this off, and we don't have the scenes filmed better to translate the information, so they did that. I think in actuality, if you go back in the past, and you could reshoot the movie, you could translate all that information about the secret plans and stuff like that a lot better, probably with Leia, in a much more in a way that presents pacing much better. It's just
the scroll is fun, it's unique, and it's But in most other things, I would dislike it. I would say
that's what I think. It gets a pass because of Star Wars. It's part of the brand. Yeah. You know what I mean? If you take yourself out of that, thinking that it's tied into the brand, is it necessary?
It's not necessary, but I would miss it if it were gone.
You wouldn't know, though.
Shut up, Bats. What about you, RJ? How do you feel about prologues? Like examples of it done well or versus done poorly? Real quick, someone brought up the Wheel of Time. Sometimes the prologues are very long and they're not always good. Sometimes they're good, but not always.
I love prologues. I think we need prologues and prequels. I need to know what Han Solo was doing in his 20s, long before he met
him. We need to know that Lando Calrissian was really physically attracted to robots.
I did something that's actually kind of relevant to this. I did kind of like a page long, I don't know, in book format it might be 2 pages. Kind of a prologue thing. I'm not even sure if it's a prologue or a foreword, so this is a fascinating conversation, but it is like on the shorter side. It's not chapter length by any means, not even close. It's essentially like an entry to a diary, and I pepper in a couple more entries later on, and then it eventually translates into the main character's diary. So like I keep that pattern of having like a diary entry before every chapter kind of thing, and it becomes like just, I don't know, a little puzzle that you're piecing together along the way. And
absolutely.
I use it as a tool to kind of like cleverly world build, but also to just like have a lot of fun talking in a really flowery, like old-timey medieval kind of way.
Well, yeah, it's like the opening of like Conan or like an old swords and sorcery novel. It's like it's like cool language that creates intrigue and mystery, and maybe like gives you a character's name or like where he's at, and then that's it. It's just for its style. It's a little bit of style over substance, but it's really, I enjoy it when it's done well.
Sanderson did something similar with the Mistborn series, where you got the Emperor's perspective, like in every beginning of every chapter. But speaking of Sanderson, you've had first prologue. What about second prologue?
What about third? What about the fourth?
The Stormlight Archive.
I love Stormlight, but the first book has 4 beginnings.
No. It is two prologues. Yeah.
No.
Well, it's the 2 beginnings because it's two main characters. So that's fair.
No. I'm not talking about that. They have the prologue, then the other prologue, and then the prologue of the villain perspective, and then the main character. That's 4.
Oh my god, yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah, I guess people aren't going to know what we're talking about, but like they do, like the first prologue they give you is something that happens like so many
4,000
years before, and you don't start to piece it together to like the 4th
book 3 or 4.
Yeah, so it's like why? And then you go into like, well, that was the second prologue, was the villain's perspective of doing the lashings and stuff.
Oh yeah, this is the day Zeth would kill.
This is it was a perspective character that's kind of way more enticed with the world. So you're also kind of like, I don't know what's going on. It's like Whiplash, because it gets to the next like part of the book and nobody has any understanding of the magic system.
Then you're in a slave with a cage.
Yeah, it's really important to like really fully like do like a flavor cleanse of some kind to like reestablish. You're essentially, you got to understand you're restarting every time you do that. Yeah. So this is why George Martin freaking takes his time, and his books are so freaking long, because every time he like kind of does that, he's soft resetting. So he has to figure out how to carry that momentum over several characters. And
his prologue was great.
Yeah, because he's figured it out. Like
it's just I wish they went back to that. Like at some point.
It's just a chapter. That's all he did, is just it's just a special chapter from a character that doesn't matter.
I feel like if you are doing prologue before the book, you have to knock it out of the park, because let's say that you're going to the pool. I know there's some pool experience.
I was in the pool.
So I'm going to the pool, right? I'm ready to go to the pool. I've been thinking about the pool for a long time. I've seen advertisements for it, commercials about the pool. It's summertime. Like, I can't wait to get in that pool. I got my trunks on, my suntan lotion, and I get there. I'm ready to dive in. And lifeguard goes, "Weed, hold on." And then they have to like explain, like, you know, make sure you don't go in the pool if you ate 15 minutes ago because you might cramp up, or there's different swimming and don't go over there because that's like the seniors are swimming and stuff. I'm like, I just want to get in the pool, man. So if you're gonna prevent me from getting into the pool because you have to cover, not that, I mean, stuff's important. You don't want to go in the pool and cramp up, and you know you could drown. That's a serious issue. So I understand it's important. It is relevant before I go into the pool, but the presentation of that information got to be great, because I just want to dive in. You know what I mean?
I'd say it depends, right? Because some people are gonna drop DNF the book at page 1, and obviously
some people are
for
just
those
like
people,
that,
the prologue is essential. But some people don't DNF a book until like a few chapters.
It takes a lot for me to DNF.
I'll just say I don't like it as well.
But yeah,
and that prologue might be setting up some really important information that somebody might not understand yet, that they can maybe get in a few chapters. So you're doing like a cost risk analysis at this point. Is it worth it for those few people that stick the few chapters to have it not be like the most grasping prologue? And I say in some instances that might be the case, and because
it also depends on your genre too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like at some point, because people could be like, you know, Stormlight Archive, I DNF Stormlight Archive well after a few chapters, but again, because you get the people that will complete it, or you know, get farther than you did, they can tell you like, no, give it another try. Now, again, especially as indies, small creators, not the best thing to have customers be doing, but
it's a risk.
It's a risk. If your goal is to write the best story, and that's what the prologue has to be, that might be the case. I say. Yeah. And then you could argue, well, if it's the best story possible, a version of that story, then it's going to have a grasping prologue.
I get it. It's
True.
just, man, yeah. It's like a song that's a really good song, but it has like a
spoilers, Tim. I haven't read the last book yet.
That like builds and builds. I'm like, do we really need the 1.5-minute intro, guys? Could you give me like 10 seconds intro and let's get into the song?
And that's why that's why, Emily, you need the intro to be its own song. Track 1 is the 1.5-minute intro, right? That's when certain bands can do it well. I know you've heard some damn good track 1s that are literally just 1.5 minutes of nothing, just building up.
Yeah.
I'm less excited for the song.
I feel like, though, in a book, though, you can't skip the intro track like you could on a CD. So you have to experience that in order to understand the rest of it. I know what you're saying, but I'm like, keep it tight.
Some people do something kind of smart, like I don't like it in like epic fantasy, but what you see in a lot of good, like better young adult fiction is like they'll just combine the prologue kind of idea with the first chapter. Basically, it'll be like directly talking to the audience a little bit. It's a little hand-holdy. I don't like it, but I see why people like that. It's like, okay, now I know what my character feels, what they look like, all like look in the mirror BS. I don't like that, but I understand why other people do. I think How to Train Your Dragon does that kind of well, because the first scene is also kind of a prologue, but it leads directly into the action. I thought that movie did it really well.
Yeah, you got to tell us how this character is and where we're at. What they look like is important, and yeah, you'll have to check that box eventually, but because you don't want people to be like hearing a random voice in a white room. You know what I mean? White room syndrome.
Why gotta be white?
Because it's
all
like,
that white guilt, boy.
There's nothing there. But what I did to avoid what you're talking about, Justin, of like not getting into the pool or like waiting through this long thing, because like you're right, a lot of books you can't just like jump into the pool because you don't know how warm or cold the water is. Like you don't know anything about that pool, who peed in it, any of that. So like what I did. Here's what I did. Here's what I did.
On your story.
We're gonna have to have a map of the pool and instructions.
This is you. You are here. You go over your pool.
Classically drawn Tolkien fantasy map, and it's the pool. And it's
yes, the pool and the fantasy map. I can do that,
man.
Anyway, what I'm getting at, the way I avoided that is like I said, it's a diary entry, like or whatever, and yeah, it establishes some cool world building stuff and some tone, yeah, but I kept what you're saying in mind, and I made sure that it wasn't necessary, so that the people who don't give a shit about the flowery language and like the cryptic diary entries that are laden with clues, they get. Yeah. You might as well not, Herman. You might as well not. But anyway, if they do want to, basically what I'm getting at is if they do want to skip those, I made sure that they can, and it's basically providing nothing but just like an extra nugget of flavor.
Right.
For those who want it, yeah.
Yes, I guarantee that once you get into the story a little bit, you'll start flipping back and rereading some of those because.
So you did.
Oh, you know me. I read that right away.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. So.
Well, at that too. Let's get into that 2-hour mark, boys.
Yeah. Well, really quick, RJ, do you have you encountered that at all? Like with the prologue, do you have like a prologue or anything like in your story?
I do exposition, so Lena Riley, again, get the Lena Riley trade card. She's my exposition character. I just think the a dystopian world lends itself to a mouthpiece giving.
In the sequel, is she going to be black? I'm just curious. I'm just trying to see if there's a trend.
I'm protecting.
Well, if Disney picks it up, maybe.
Yeah, no deal.
Yeah, no deal. Yeah. Yes.
Played by Jada Plinkett Smith.
Oh god. Oh, I know. She would kill it. You got to admit, Kahuna, she would knock that role out of the park.
Oh god.
RJ, what were you saying though?
I'm sorry, I don't know what happened.
That's fine. No, we're keeping the redheads. No, I think a dystopian world lends itself to someone who's like kind of the mouthpiece of the propaganda machine doing the exposition. So that's kind of how I handle exposition. Like I think it's different between novels and comic books, because I think it's like the analogy of like taking off a plane, and like the same in like a movie script. Like you have like like the first 10 pages to like get the plane off the ground. Like the depending on what medium you're working in, you might have a longer runway, like in a novel. You might have a really short runway, like a comic book. I think it's more like an aircraft carrier. You know, it's just got a very
book is
small.
almost
deck.
like
You
a
got
one,
countless
maybe
enough.
one page.
Well, you can show a picture of a battle happening, whereas in like on the book, you're like, this battle happened. Woo. You know?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
People
Don't
died. Take it seriously.
Yeah. Well, that's the nice thing about comic books. You can do splash pages, and that's something you just got to get creative with.
Yep.
And
Oh, it's awesome, actually. It's its own art. The establishing shot, splash pages, like, etc. What were you going to say, Kahuna? This way?
Best example in comics, All-Star Superman. Gives the entire backstory of Superman on one 2-page spread, or was it single page? I don't remember, but
That's
it was
awesome. That's so awesome.
I love All-Star
That's
Superman.
so cool.
But yeah.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
It's like just like little images, because we all know Superman's origin. We don't need to see the whole thing again. It's just like, oh yeah, point, beautiful art. It's perfect. I love.
I had Luke Stone do a scene like that in a Saga of Sunsets, because basically the first half of Saga of Sunsets is a parade of characters. I challenged myself with that. Oh, hello, monkey. Yeah, I challenged myself with that. I was like, I am literally gonna parade characters through here. I'm gonna introduce them so that you know who they are, and the story has a lot of finality to it. So, like, essentially, there's a whole scene where, in one panel, like on one page, like it's only half the page too. He goes from like, it almost looks like fog, and in the little windows of fog is like different scenes from the king's life of like him as a child, him teaching his son. The moment he found like the magic thing, and the moment he became king, and like what he sacrificed, he's missing an eye in that one. So there's little details to each little panel, and it's just a beautiful. There's an art to it, like I said, and it's so fun to try to cleverly piece together that puzzle. It's like a little game, you know. Like, how much can I tell in this one scene with this one establishment shot?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And on that, don't make me play the clip.
I swear to God.
Hey, I went the whole show without doing the glazing one. All right.
You,
Yeah, good
RJ, do you want to see the clip?
Yeah, let's see it.
It'll get played. It needs to get played once per show.
The things they showed us when we were
Hey,
kids.
Xander.
Anyways, all
buddy.
right. Hey, dude, what? RJ, where can we find you? Any closing comments?
Yeah, go to my Substack. We could put that. I think you got the link. But yeah, get on the Substack mailing list. That's the best way to find updates on the book. Call sign Orion. Reply with your mailing address. I'll send you a free pop socket. Give you another up close view there.
Hell yeah.
There it is.
Nice.
Orion pop socket.
Looks
Post
great,
your
dude.
pop socket. Post a picture of that on social media. Make sure I could see it, and then I'll give you a 20% discount on
wanna
any
giggle every
merchandise,
time you
which
say
would
that.
include the Lena Riley trading card featuring Lisa foils, the F-26 Aerostar miniature, and of course the book. You can get the pre-ordered book as well. So get on that mailing list, and I don't know. I want to end with a trailer. Mind if we hit that?
Oh yeah, well I'll roll out on that.
Sweet, perfect.
But yeah, Everly, got any closing comments?
Oh, sure, yeah. You can find all my music, any streaming platform of your choice. Just type in Everly. I got some rock, some metal on there. New album up on the Bandcamp as well. And, of course, you can also find me Friday nights promoting indies on Iron Age Nights with Daniel P. Riley and also Royce over on A Drink with Crazy Live.
Absolutely. AC, just...
yeah. The thumbs that Everly's been doing. Where's your do you have that fake thumb?
The fake hand?
Yes. Does he have it? Of course he has it.
You should wash it more often.
You have an iron claw?
Yeah. What did you name it?
He has an iron claw.
Oh yes, just like
I thought you said his name was Carl. His name is Carl.
that was a great.
That's going on your shirt, Evely. Evely, it's not F is for fun anymore. His name is Carl with a little hand, with a little vector hand.
No AC, no more. Anyways, all right, Kahuna, where can we find you? What's going on?
Follow my band, Empty My Lungs. Pritchard Pub on YouTube, Empty My Lungs everywhere. Back my comic. fundmycomic.com/ASOS. Yeah, that's all.
All right.
Thank you.
Kahuna.
You can find me at The Ultimate Kahuna on Twitter, YouTube, and now TikTok for some godforsaken reason. I like to post book content, manga content, commentary in general, some vlog stuff, and just try to be funny, man. Try to be funny and entertaining. That's all I'm about, man. Let's do it.
All right, guys. Battsauce on everything. I'm going to be uploading more content here. Better content. Don't you worry about that. But I got my comedy, Harry Potter meets Office Space. It's fantastic, guys.
There's a long pause.
Now.
I'm like, Harry Potter? That sounds real.
I was like, what was that other one? It's $2.99 for the rest of this month, digital. So, guys, throw me a bone here. All right, pick it up. You
guys,
will not regret it. and that later, everyone.
Bats, you.
See.